Hey there friends, Golf Coach Dan back again today. Thanks for watching the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, do me a huge favor and click that button. I would so appreciate it. What are we talking about today? So a lot of my content is inspired on patterns I'm observing in lessons, right? So haven't posted in about a week or so. Over the last week, one common theme that keeps popping into my head is that there's multiple swing variables. Today I'm going to talk about two that I think are very hard to overdo, and that can be a very helpful thing. I'll explain. So often you receive a swing tip, and that could be helpful, but a lot of the times it's not enough, right? You need to know how it can fit within the entire, let's say, ecosystem of your swing, right? So it's not just the tip, it's maybe how much to feel it, how intense to feel it, right? Sometimes I'm scaling things on like a scale of 1 to 10. Certainly like maybe the release of the club. So let's start right there with the release of the club. On a scale of like 1 to 10, how aggressively are you releasing that club? Well, certainly you shouldn't feel like you have to release it as hard as you can to square the face. That's probably a grip orientation conversation. But today what we're talking about is if I was going to use only my left hand, we call it lead hand supination. So all the time I'm telling people, I want you to try and roll your left palm, if you're a right-handed golfer, lead palm, to the sky to close the face, right? Because I believe with a neutral grip orientation on that left hand, that's very hard to overdo. You can use this left hand and release it almost as hard as you want, again, assuming you're not using too strong of a grip and you're not going to have to worry about hooking the ball too much. So it's very hard to over close the face using only that left hand. Now, when your right elbow and tricep and wrist get involved, what happens is that can very easily kick the club head around the handle, and that's going to cause maybe some hook shots, maybe hitting it heavy, chunky, stuff like that, maybe even off the heel. But when you use that left hand, you're really only affecting the spinning of the club, not so much this kind of club head versus handle situation. So that's one. It's very hard to overdo a lead hand supinated release, right? Rolling that left palm to the sky. So how you can use that is, as long as your grip's pretty neutral, you can do that as hard as you want. And since it's battling against your body's turning and drag forces that are trying to hold that back, again, you're probably not going to have to worry about hooking it. Number two, it's very, very hard for most people, I'm going to say 99 out of 100 golfers, very hard for them to overdo their side bend through impact, right? Almost every amateur is much closer to kind of square to the ball and stood up, maybe a little early extended, versus your average tour pro is going to be more down in posture, tilted to their trail hand side, and still turning more towards the target. So those are two things that I think you can lay on pretty thick in your swing without having to worry about overdoing them to the point where it would cause problems. Because again, so much of this golf swing is a balancing act, whether you're hooking it or slicing it, hitting it too high, too low, chunking it, thinning it. We're trying to find the middle. It's a balancing act. So I hit this last one. It was the first shot of the day, thinking about those two things. In terms of a first shot of the day, it was great. I'm going to put the pressure on myself, try and do that one more time for you. Again, all I'm going to think about here is side bending a lot through impact and really using that left hand to release the club face. Pressure's on. Let me try and replicate that for you. That one wasn't as good as the first one I hit. It was a little bit more off the toe. Let's see. Okay, but great example of me releasing that club face really hard and it not going left. All right, so lots of side bend, lots of lead hand supination for that release. And if you like to do things aggressively in your swing without having to worry about overdoing them, this is for you. All right, so do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that for me. I would really appreciate it. Comment with any things you want to see in future videos, questions about this video, just telling me how much you love the content. I love the positive messages. I don't read the negative ones. All right, see you next time.